Welcome back to our channel. In the previous episode, we explored Europe around 700 before Christ, getting to know the flourishing of the Greek polis, Magna Graecia in southern Italy, the mysterious kingdom of Tartessos in Iberia, the beginnings of Rome, and many other cultures that were shaping the continent. If you missed it, head over to the playlist to watch and then come back here. 2 centuries later, around 500 before Christ, the map of Europe already shows profound changes, especially in the east and the Mediterranean, as you can see on our map today. Many ancient cultures continue to be present, but new powers emerge, migrations intensify, and epic confrontations begin to define the future of the continent. In the far east of Europe, the Achaemenid Persian Empire, founded by Cyrus the Great in the mid-century before, reached its peak under Darius I, extending from the Indus Valley to Egypt and reaching parts of Europe such as Thrace and Macedonia. It was a multicultural state, organized into provinces called satrapies, connected by efficient royal roads, with standardized coinage and a powerful army. Its influence on Europe was decisive. By attempting to conquer the Greek city-states, it triggered the Greco-Persian Wars, with epic battles such as Marathon in 490 before Christ, Thermopylae and Salamis in 480 before Christ. Although defeated by the Greeks, these confrontations united the Hellenic polis, strengthened democracy in Athens, forged Greek identity against the East, and left a legacy of imperial organization that would influence future civilizations. Further north, in the vast steppes north of the Black Sea, the Scythians, fierce Iranian nomads, dominated the plains of present-day Ukraine and southern Russia, living off mounted herding, seasonal migrations and warfare. Masters of the composite bow fired from horseback, they used ambush tactics and scorched earth that, around 513 before Christ, humiliated Darius himself, forcing his retreat. They traded grain, furs, gold, and slaves with Greek colonies, while their animalistic art in gold, deer, panthers, and griffins in Kurgan tombs, revealed a hierarchical society with shamanic rituals and beliefs in immortality. On the Crimean Peninsula and the shores of the Kerch Strait, the kingdom of the Bosporus flourished, a Greek colony founded by Malcyons that had become a prosperous and independent Hellenistic state, ruled by dynasties such as the Spartacids. It controlled vital trade routes of the Black Sea, exporting grain, salted fish, and slaves to Greece in exchange for wine and pottery. Its inhabitants mixed Greek settlers in coastal cities, such as the capital Panticapaeum, with indigenous peoples like Scythians, Sarmatians, and Taurians, creating a Hellenized culture with barbaric influences in art and military customs. Still on the northeastern border, north of the Danube River and in the Carpathians, lived the Geti and Dacians, Thracian warrior peoples known to the Greeks as the most valiant of their people. The Geti occupied the plains of present-day eastern Romania and Bulgaria, while the Dacians dominated the mountains and Transylvania, organized into tribal kingdoms with heavy cavalry and rituals centered on the god Zalmoxis, who preached the immortality of the soul. Their material culture, rich in gold and silver, controlled important trade routes and resisted Persians and Macedonians. In the western Mediterranean, the Republic of Carthage, founded as a Phoenician colony in North Africa, had consolidated itself as a maritime oligarchic power, with an unbeatable fleet and a network of outposts dominating the trade in metals, purple, ivory, and slaves. It profoundly influenced Europe through colonies in Iberia, such as Gades, present-day Cadiz, and Sicily, exploiting silver and tin mines, introducing navigation techniques, the Punic alphabet, and Oriental products to the Atlantic and Mediterranean coasts. In Sicily, the island was living its apogee as part of Magna Graecia, covered by prosperous Hellenic colonies such as Syracuse, Agrigento, Gela, and Salininite, which erected grand temples, theaters, and imposing walls under powerful tyrants like Gelon of Gela and Theron of Agrigento. The economy flourished with wheat, wine, and olive oil exported to mainland Greece, in a cosmopolitan society that mixed Greeks with indigenous Elymians, Sicanians, and Sicels. However, constant conflicts with Carthage to the west culminated in Hellenic victories, such as the Battle of Himra in 480 before Christ, temporarily consolidating Greek dominance on the island. On the Italian peninsula, south of the Etruscans, indigenous peoples such as the Ligurians in the northwestern mountains, the Volscians in the central Latium hills, and the Samnites in the central southern highlands lived in villages and fortified hill forts, practicing subsistence agriculture, herding, and tribal warfare. The Ligurians resisted with guerrilla tactics in high hills, the Volscians cultivated wheat in city-states like Antium, and the Samnites, the most organized, formed confederations with heavy infantry, preserving sanctuaries in groves and a military tradition that would soon put them in direct confrontation with Rome in the Samnite Wars. Further west, in the territories that today form Portugal and northwestern Spain, fierce Indo-European peoples lived such as the Lusitanians, Galicians, Asturians, Cantabrians, and Celtiberians, dwelling in fortified hill forts in the hills and mountains of the Douro, Tagus, and Mijo rivers. The Lusitanians dominated central and southern Portugal with quick ambushes and swift horses. The Galicians, in the north, formed tribes in large settlements like the Setania de Breteros, raising cattle and honoring gods in sacred groves. Asturians and Cantabrians, in the northernmost mountains, hunted, forged iron, and tattooed their bodies in warrior rituals, while the Celtiberians mixed Celtic and Iberian blood on the Meseta, forging long swords and writing in their own alphabet. In southwestern present-day France, south of the Western Pyrenees and north of the Garonne River, lived the Aquitanian peoples, direct ancestors of the modern Basques, and distinct from the surrounding Celts. They spoke non-Indo-European languages, organized into clans and fortified cities in fertile valleys, cultivating wheat, vines, and flax, raising horses and sheep in the mountains, and trading metals across the Atlantic. They were agile warriors with short spears and round shields, honoring nature gods in caves and hot springs. In the heart of Central Europe, in the alpine regions of present-day Austria, southern Germany, eastern Switzerland, and eastern France, the Celts of the Hallstatt culture were living the peak of the early Iron Age. Elites governed from hilltop fortresses, controlling trade routes for salt, Baltic amber, tin, and local iron in exchange with Etruscans, Greeks from Massalia, and Phoenicians. Luxurious tombs with four-wheeled chariots, gold jewelry, and imported pottery revealed a sophisticated hierarchical society, master blacksmiths who forged long swords and ornate helmets, with geometric art full of stylized animals and banquets washed down with Greek wine. Their religion included offerings in sacred lakes, preparing for the great migratory expansion of the Latine phase that would take the Celts to Italy, the Balkans, and beyond. In the northernmost British Isles, in present-day Scotland, the ancestors of the Picts occupied highlands and coasts with fortified villages, hunting deer, fishing, and cultivating barley in poor soils. Known later as painted by the Romans, they tattooed their bodies with spirals and animals, maintained a possibly matrilineal society, and engraved mysterious symbols on standing stones. In neighboring Ireland, Gaelic tribes formed Tuatha or tribal kingdoms rich in cattle, the ultimate symbol of wealth, governed by warrior kings and powerful druids who mediated rituals in sacred oak groves. In the far frozen north, in the boreal forests and tundras of present-day Finland, northern Scandinavia, and the Kola Peninsula, lived the ancestors of the Lapps or Sami and the Finns, Finno-Ugric hunter-gatherer peoples who followed wild reindeer, fished in frozen lakes, and hunted moose and seals. The Proto-Sami, nomads with sleds and skin tents, practiced shamanism with decorated drums and rock art of hunting scenes. The Proto-Finns, further south, formed sedentary wooden villages, cultivating barley in clearings and weaving linen nets, preserving unique languages and beliefs in gods like Ukko in harmony with the hostile nature. Finally, in the center of the Italian peninsula, Rome was still a modest city-state on the banks of the Tiber, recently transformed into a republic after the expulsion of the last Etruscan king, Tarquinius Superbus, in 509 before Christ. Governed by two elected consuls, a patrician senate, and popular assemblies, it was divided between noble patricians and plebeian peasants, with a disciplined citizen army of hoplites. The city grew around the Forum and the capital, with an agricultural economy in Latium, local trade, and constant wars against neighbors like the Equi, Volscians, and Sabines. It faced internal crises, such as the secession of the plebs to the sacred mount in 494 before Christ, which created the tribunes of the plebs, but already showed the military and political tenacity that would lead it to dominate first Italy and then the Mediterranean. With that, we conclude our complete journey through Europe of 500 before Christ, a continent of colossal empires, indomitable nomads, brilliant cities, and warrior peoples on the margins, all intertwined by trade, war, and culture, preparing for the great transformations to come. Give us credibility, leave your like, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next chapter in the history of Europe. See you in the next episode.